The business of professional sports is far from a sisterhood. It's a ruthless, unforgiving arena of hypercapitalism, where your worth is measured by one undeniable metric: your market value. In this world, you're either the engine driving revenue, or you're just a passenger along for the ride, dependent on someone else to get you to your destination. For the past 25 years, the WNBA operated largely as a league of passengers. It ran a corporate entity that lost hundreds of millions of dollars, surviving solely on the financial support of the NBA. Yet, a militant faction of veteran players developed a remarkable sense of entitlement. They convinced themselves they were global icons. Then the real engine arrived, Caitlin Clark. The moment she stepped on the court, she shattered viewership records, drew unprecedented attention, and injected billions of dollars into the sport. But instead of gratitude, some veteran players tried to hijack the momentum. What we are witnessing now isn't just a labor negotiation, it's a corporate suicide mission. The WNBA Players Association is threatening to derail the 2026 season entirely, demanding guaranteed maximum contracts, free housing, and an extortionate 50% split of the league's revenue. The veteran establishment believes their threat of a strike gives them ultimate leverage over billionaire owners. But their strategy has been completely dismantled, not by words, not by social media battles, but by Caitlin Clark herself. By arriving at Team USA training camp, Clark has executed one of the most brilliant corporate maneuvers in modern sports. Without uttering a single negative word, she has proven that she is the league's most irreplaceable asset. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark to survive. Clark does not need the WNBA. The footage emerging from the international training camp is more than practice tape, it's a psychological statement directed at the militant veterans attempting to hold the league hostage. The culture being built there is vibrant, focused, and completely free from the bitter politics and toxic environment that have plagued the WNBA Players Association. Caitlin Clark has shifted the balance of power, and the consequences for the union's leadership are just beginning to unfold.
They're kind of doing some drills here. Let's see them cook up for a little bit. Chelsea, no look to Caitlin. Side dribble. Main thing is they're enjoying themselves, man. I love it. Okay, Angel to Stu, easy work. It seems like Caitlin is hanging with Kelsey a lot. Paige always yelling. Paige yelling about anything these days.
Listen to the sheer joy in that gymnasium. Look at the smiles. Look at the complete absence of tension. On this court, Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, and the next generation of American superstars are laughing, competing, and shouting USA on 3. They are living at the peak of their athletic primes, performing as elite professionals who genuinely love the game. Now, contrast that with the hostile, combative energy radiating from the WNBA labor dispute. Veteran union leaders have created a campaign of manufactured misery, positioning themselves as oppressed victims of billionaire owners. Their goal is to dominate media cycles with anger, resentment, and the constant threat of a work stoppage. The environment has become so toxic that even vice presidents are leaking letters to ESPN, begging for transparency. By stepping onto the Team USA court and radiating pure, unfiltered joy, Caitlin Clark has effectively dismantled the union's entire PR strategy. She has sent a clear signal to corporate sponsors, television networks, and league owners: she is the premium, drama-free investment. While the WNBPA leadership appears disorganized and chaotic, Clark looks like a consummate global superstar. She has demonstrated that the toxicity in women's basketball is not systemic, it's entirely manufactured by a small, jealous faction of veteran players desperate to maintain control over the culture. The union thought they could trap Clark within their labor conflict, using her massive popularity as leverage to pressure the owners. Instead, she stepped away entirely and positioned herself on the largest international stage in the world. To understand just how catastrophic the WNBA union's miscalculation was, we need to examine their actual market value. In corporate negotiations, you cannot successfully bluff a billionaire, you cannot threaten to walk away if the person across the table knows you have nowhere else to go. Yet the WNBA veterans genuinely believed they had independent market value. They assumed fans would tune in specifically for their legacy brand of basketball. They even tested this by launching the unrivaled 3-on-3 League, an entirely separate basketball ecosystem designed to prove they could generate revenue without Caitlin Clark. The results were disastrous. Ratings collapsed immediately. Fans saw the product, realized number 22, the Golden Goose, was missing, and switched the channel. Network executives at TNT, who had invested heavily, panicked. Franchise cornerstones, like Aaliyah Boston, suffered injuries in meaningless exhibition games, proving the venture was both physically and financially unsound. The veterans' trump card failed spectacularly. Without Caitlin Clark, they were shown to be financially worthless on a national stage. And now, at the opposite end of the spectrum, the real Golden Goose steps onto the floor, and everything changes.
Floor. Mind you, look at the teams while y'all looking too. Look, Angel knocking them down, dog. I know it's quick. Caitlin with the game winner. Caitlin with the game winner, dog. Got the stun on him. Come on, man.
The gymnasium is alive with pure joy. Look at the smiles, the laughter, the energy. Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, and the next generation of American superstars are shouting USA on 3, competing, and reveling in the game they love. They are performing at the peak of their athletic primes, elite professionals who thrive on basketball itself. Now, contrast that with the toxic, combative energy radiating from the WNBA labor dispute. Veteran union leaders have crafted a campaign of manufactured misery, portraying themselves as oppressed victims of billionaire owners. They dominate media cycles with anger, resentment, and constant threats of a work stoppage, creating an environment so toxic that even vice presidents are leaking letters to ESPN, begging for transparency. By stepping onto the Team USA court and radiating pure, unfiltered joy, Caitlin Clark has completely dismantled the union's PR strategy. She signals to corporate sponsors, networks, and owners that she is the premium, drama-free investment. While the WNBA leadership appears disorganized and chaotic, Clark shines as a consummate global superstar. She proves that the toxicity in women's basketball is not systemic, it's manufactured by a small, jealous faction desperate to maintain control. The union thought they could trap Clark in their labor conflict, using her popularity as leverage. Instead, she simply stepped onto the largest international stage in the world. Their miscalculation becomes even clearer when analyzing market value. In corporate negotiations, you cannot bluff a billionaire, yet the WNBA veterans assumed fans would tune in solely for their legacy brand. They even launched the unrivaled 3-on-3 League to prove they could generate revenue without Clark, but ratings collapsed instantly, fans switched the channel, network executives panicked, and franchise cornerstones like Aaliyah Boston suffered injuries in meaningless games, exposing the venture as both financially and physically unsound. Their trump card failed spectacularly. Without Caitlin Clark, they proved financially worthless on a national stage. And now, at the opposite end, the real Golden Goose steps onto the floor, and everything changes. If you want, I can continue rewriting all your remaining WNBA labor dispute footage into one cohesive, cinematic YouTube script with hooks, retention points, and a strong CTA. This will be fully ready for narration. Do you want me to do that next?
It's special for you. Man, I think, this is every kid's dream. I think I wrote it down when I was in like 3rd grade. So I'm just excited about this opportunity. And I remember Kara Callan talking to us, like when me and Paige, and I know AB isn't here, but even I played with Ryan on the U19 team. Like on the junior national teams, there's only going to be like a couple of you that end up making it to make a senior debut. So whether that's the World Cup, whether the World Cup qualifier, whether that's, the Olympics, every single part of it and part of the journey is really special. So I know we're a ways away even from the World Cup and obviously a ways away from the Olympics, but this is still really exciting in itself and kind of the...
Listen to the profound, untouchable brilliance of Caitlin Clark's public statement. She calls it every kid's dream, expresses deep reverence for the opportunity, acknowledges the journey, and positions herself as a humble student of the game, all while projecting unshakable professionalism on the world's biggest stage. By taking this public stance, Clark is actively dismantling the desperate narrative pushed by the WNBA veterans. The militant old guard wants to paint her as entitled, her fans as toxic, and themselves as the noble defenders of the sport's history. But Clark refuses to play the villain. She refuses the mudslinging. She steps in front of the international media as a consummate, respectful professional, making the WNBA union look exactly like what it is, a chaotic, disorganized, petty faction fighting over scraps, leaking passive-aggressive letters, and sabotaging their own sport. Her highly anticipated return with Team USA bypasses the WNBA entirely. The FIBA qualifiers are a global television spectacle, where Clark will compete at the highest stakes, surrounded by the world's best players, free from the toxic politics, blatant fouls, and deep-rooted jealousy of the union. Meanwhile, the WNBA sits like a room rigged with a thermal detonator. The veteran leadership threatens to press the button on March 10th, believing that if they do, billionaires will surrender. But Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the ownership groups are not focused on the veterans. They are watching Caitlin Clark, who stands safely outside the blast radius, ready to dominate the global stage, expand her brand, and generate hundreds of millions for the networks. If the WNBA forces a lockout, they won't emerge as heroes, they will become the architects of their own destruction. They will alienate the new fan base, destroy the league's momentum, and force owners to restructure the sport financially, stripping players of leverage forever. When the smoke clears, Caitlin Clark will still be the world's biggest draw, while the bitter veterans who tried to silence her will be facing the most humiliating financial defeat in sports history. The illusion of veteran sisterhood is shattered. The reality is cold and absolute. In professional sports, you either move the financial needle or you are systematically crushed. So, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is the WNBA union driven by jealousy of Clark's dominance? Will they actually go through with this self-destructive strike, or will billionaire owners crush them at the deadline? And just how massive will global television ratings be for Clark's Team USA debut while the WNBA burns? If you want unapologetic, aggressive truth about the cutthroat business of sports, the high-stakes leverage games in corporate boardrooms, and the stories mainstream media is terrified to cover, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this video everywhere. We don't do sanitized PR narratives, we expose the raw, bloody reality hiding in the shadows. Stay sharp.